Welcome back to another episode of Footballin' with Ben Roethlisberger. My name is Spence, and as always, I am joined here with two-time Super Bowl champion, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Roethlisberger.
Quick one tonight.
Oh, that was quick.
That was quick. Because we
Shut it off.
don't want to waste any time.
Can't
Waste any time tonight.
Why is that?
Because the standard is the standard.
That's what I hear.
I had to start. We have one of the most asked about and requested guests. We did it. We do it for the fans, for the millions and millions watching around the world. Really, it's just a couple thousand. But really, for the millions of fans watching and all of our many sponsors, we are so excited to have on the one, the only head football coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin.
Yeah. Hey man, this is fun, man. I'm just enjoying watching you two work.
Thanks for being here. This is going to be awesome.
Glad to be here.
We didn't do our pre-NFL production meeting that you're used to. We don't do production meetings here.
I like how loose this is.
Yes, it is going to be that.
It's kind of comfortable, eerily comfortable.
Well, before we came on, like literally, we're like, this is inevitably what happens every single time we do our show. With our guests, we start talking about, you're catching up, whatever. And you're like, wait a second, we're about to do a show where we got to talk about this stuff. Like, what are we doing? And so the thing we just talked about is social media now. You are just now on, because I don't have it, Spence had to tell me. Instagram? Only
Yes.
Instagram?
Yep.
Not Twitter or anything like that?
Both.
You're on both?
Yes.
Who runs your social media account?
Teresa. Why are you laughing?
So you're not one of those guys that sits up all night and tweets and does those?
Absolutely not.
No.
I will text Teresa something.
Yeah.
And she executes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Teresa is my buffer, man. Like Teresa. And could you think of a more appropriate one?
No.
Yeah.
No. The nicest. And this. I guess I say this in like the most. Like nicest way. I about said it. It might not come. The nicest bulldog you ever meet. Like that can be mean, but I don't mean it like that.
No, that's so appropriate.
Like she is the nicest, sweetest person in the world. But we'll get after you.
Hey, like when I hand out like Thanksgiving turkeys,
yeah,
like she goes and she's like security on the sneaky.
You've already gotten one. Wham!
Yes, yes. Like it's so subtle.
Yeah.
But if anybody's out of line, man, she'll tackle them. You know
no doubt, and not care about it all. Teresa, we love you to death. You're the best.
You, Teresa, appreciate you.
Are you on social media because of your kids?
Absolutely.
Yeah. People ask me like, I'm not on it, and I'm like, okay, I know, but I figure by the time my kids get on social media, it'll be something different. Somehow, some way, right? Like there's going to be something.
They're always a step ahead of you, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not on Be Real yet, so I'm late because my daughter, like that's her latest thing is Be Real. I refuse to participate in the TikTok thing, but I'm active enough just so I can have an appreciation for the space to kind of understand what motivates them and what's important in that space and what's not. Just to maintain a connection, man, with your kids, man, as they grow and particularly their generation, man, is such an important part of life for them. You can't deny that. It is a component of life for them. So I can complain about it and stay disconnected, or I can participate on some level and work to gain some understanding. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Good perspective,
Mike.
Well, yeah, you want to get a little closer to that? Yeah.
This way, like out of your face.
Yeah, I'm gonna move.
Your face.
I'm gonna move your angle. Yeah, if you just point that towards you there too, Mike.
Spence,
Appreciate you.
Maneuver me as you wish.
Yeah.
See, this is how professional we are. We're all set up and ready to go. We won't even cut that.
Yeah.
No. We're gonna definitely leave that in.
At some point, we're going to talk about. There's been one thing. Debo like kind of dropped like an F-bomb. Because the show was faith, family, football, food.
I get it.
And he did it, but it was so mumbled because we made him try a beer that had like sparkles in it, and it was so bad, but you couldn't tell what it was, so it was okay. But we literally don't edit anything out of this. The only thing we edited, and I don't know if we can talk about it, but one time Spence talked about almost getting run over by Aaron Donald in the parking lot.
Well, now I got to take it out again. All right. That's the only thing I took out. But he didn't almost
run over in the vehicle.
Yeah, it was 100%. I was at the facility. I was filming.
100% his fault. You were about to say?
My fault. Oh. Aaron. It was 100% my fault. I was just like walking in the middle of where the cars drive, and he whipped around that huge Jeep he's got, and I turned back. I was like, "Oh, whoa!" And I saw his Aaron Donald. I was like, "Oh, hey, sir, can I get you something?" Like, is there anything?
Excuse me. What was that?
Yeah.
You know, Spence, you probably don't know. I bet a lot of people out there don't know.
Yeah.
So you came in 08? 7, 8, yeah. And so we were together for a long time, but we actually have a little bit of history before that. And not NFL, but in college. So he was at Cincinnati. We never played against each other though. You just left Cincinnati.
Just left. Yeah.
But he recruited to Cincinnati a lot of guys, not me because he wouldn't recruit me. But
I didn't have that area. Had I had that area, you'd be a Bearcat. I promise you.
but when I got to Pittsburgh,
I had Northeast Ohio.
Northwest Ohio. When I got to Pittsburgh,
That's not a jurisdiction.
Yeah,
You better believe if I had that area.
Bearcats or whatever you guys
no
do.
doubt. Could have been a two-sporter. I had Huggins involved. You know, that'd have been the hook. That's how I got him.
Oh my
I'm like, Hug, can I bring him in the basketball locker room?
Old Charlie Cole in Miami. But it was funny because when we got to Miami, you'd be like, hey, how's Larry Bird? How's Alfonso? All these guys. I'm like, how do you know these guys? I mean, I recruited them all at Cincinnati. And it was just so we had an instant kind of connection, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, Ryan Red,
yes, all those guys. Yeah. I don't know what made me think of that, but that's a long time
How's
ago.
Bert doing, man?
Bert's doing good. He's still in Cleveland, doing some really good stuff.
Yeah.
He's one of the few. Remember Mike Larkin, my roommate? Lark. There's a few guys I still talk to.
Cincinnati guy?
Yeah. St. X. So some guys I still talk to, obviously Coop.
Yeah.
Those guys, but it's long time ago.
Ain't no doubt.
I don't even know where to begin. Like I don't have any questions. Just so funny.
Yeah, I think we can open up with a beer.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Do my production meeting.
So Mike and. I just want to let the people know.
By all means, call me Mike.
Okay, I want to let the people know because I just feel the comments coming. All right, I have since this feels so weird.
You're going to get killed on the comment.
100%. Yeah,
How dare you?
Yeah, he's a legend. Like I know. Listen, when he came downstairs, I said, Coach T, how you? And ever since Coach T, how you doing, sir? Like how you doing? Like I hold him with very high esteem. He said, hey man, you can call me Mike. I was like, I'm going to try. That's what I said. I'm gonna try.
How did it feel?
It feels like
natural?
it feels like you're going through your dad's wallet. You know what I'm saying? It does not feel.
That's pretty good.
But I'm gonna go for it because that is what he has asked me to do. So we had mentioned previously, we sample beers on this show, right? The first beer we got, not a lot, just a little sipper. We got these these guys right here. The first beer we got is from our good friends over at Cinderlands. Cinderlands, Pittsburgh Brewery.
All right.
In the Strip.
They're awesome.
Yeah, in the Strip District. Actually, they got a couple locations.
We did our live show there.
Really?
With Kutch, Bob,
how about
Pat came.
Kutch's bag?
You know what? He owes it to me. And so Neil Walker and I sat down here, and this is before he signed. He said, hey, they got to bring Kutch back. And they brought him back. So we feel like he owes us a little something. Rolex, nothing crazy.
I kid you not, man. I still got my Kutch jersey. I still got it. Still got it.
Let me see it.
I'm talking about the one I wear to the ballpark.
Oh, Kutch is awesome.
You know what I mean?
I was so excited. So excited to have Kutch back.
Man,
so this is from Cinderlands?
This is from Cinderlands. They actually did a collab with 412 Food Rescue, which was an organization that we actually partnered up with to do the live event. And I'm going to mispronounce this, and I'm so sorry, but D. Honoria's Eatery. It's also a Pittsburgh thing.
You know that place?
Denoria,
is that it? Denoria's? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I figured.
But they take.
He's like a he's a Yinzer, like
through and through, man.
But he's a man. But he's a man of the people. Like he lives. I'm not gonna say where he lived, but you live like you're not in a gated community somewhere. Like right? Did you move? You didn't move, did you?
No, I live in the city.
Yeah, like he's there and he's doing stuff and he's like it. I think that's commendable.
So this is a what is it? Hazy IPA.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Okay, hazy IPA. I'll put it in the beer can. We have it here today, folks. It's called Pane, which means with bread.
With bread.
With bread. It is brewed with the bread from the Honoria's.
Is that a bakery? Is it like
Denoria's?
Yeah.
I know that my wife knows them
Yeah.
and she frequents there, but don't turn me into a liar, man. That's about my extent of my
very
knowledge.
good.
Yes. So that is what we're working with.
Yeah.
It is, hazy IPA. Other information we got here is a little bit of backstory. Proceeds from the sale of this beer support the work of 412 Food Rescue to bring healthy food to those experiencing food insecurity. So this is out and available now, I believe. So if you guys
cool. Go grab that, guys.
Yeah.
For both, because I'm sure it's going to be delightful because it smells delightful.
Yes.
But because it helps. Do you know 412 Food Rescue? Are you familiar with them?
Yes.
They're awesome. Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Coach.
Cheers.
What's it smell like to you? A good beer?
Yes, it does. Yes.
He was asking me if you're a beer guy. I said, yeah, Coach drinks. I said, don't know if he's a craft beer guy, but I know that you'll drink like Coors. I mean, you'll drink some stuff.
I'm the most regular beer drinker. You know what I mean? Just your standard. But I can go there.
All right.
Go ahead. So, get yourself a little.
It is nice.
What are your thoughts?
What do you taste?
I don't know what I taste.
That's a very real reaction, though.
Yeah, it tastes like beer.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a craft beer of some kind.
Okay.
Like something you get in a brewery where you can't get your standard beer, but it's the in-house variety, you know?
A lot of craftsmanship,
Yeah.
attention to detail. Very good. Yes. Oh yeah, that's delicious. That's amazing. So we started this show.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Sunderland.
Yes. So
Thank
we
you.
drank Coors Banquet. Coors, yeah.
So good.
Kind of started off somewhat regular in our beer experience,
try
and
another of those?
through this show, we've kind of broadened our horizons, if you will. Ben has become an IPA.
So this is a thing.
Oh, it's like a.
This is a thing.
Well,
I like it.
beer culture, we're just visiting. There are some real people about that life. We are just.
The comments will still get on. Like, no,
Yes.
Raising you.
sorry. Like, we're not trying to be like, but we just enjoy it.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Smith. Are you going to finish that?
No, that's just it. We are just mere mortals.
It's funny though, like when you because I'm me, the domestics, the Bud Lights, like I would drink
That's me.
that, love it. But since I started doing this show, like you see my fridge back there, you don't see many. Can you recognize many?
Yeah.
You don't recognize many, do you? Because it's a bunch of just crafts and IPAs and different things in there. And since this show started and Spence and I hanging out, if I drink something that it's like it's okay, but now I want like the crafty stuff is unbelievable.
Has one just knocked the socks off you? Do you have a favorite? Or don't answer that.
This guy's really good. This one is this is mild. It
is mild.
It's
it is
mild IPA. Cinderlands seems to hit it, and they're local. I'm not trying to just.
We're not sponsored by Cinderlands.
No, we're not.
We just
They're
really.
great people.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get you in trouble. I'm just
No, that's a great thing. We don't have.
I'd love to be sponsored by Cinderlands. We're
would
just
be
not.
amazing.
They're just awesome people.
I don't know if there's one that I really like. We've had some unique stuff. I'm trying to think.
Like a type of beer or like a brand,
Specific one.
like a
specific this is my regular.
I really like Vienna lagers. It's kind of malty. It's probably along the lines of your domestic like normal beer, but it's more flavor. It's a little bit more dense. I don't like the super hoppy stuff, which he's into. Like he's in like the IPAs. I can appreciate a good IPA. I just won't hang out on one. If we're going out, say, hey man, let's go grab. Like I'll have one, but beyond that, it just drives me out. Get dehydrated.
So I don't like the stouts.
Oh yeah, we
give you
should do
stout,
one
'cause
tonight.
You like coffee?
Big time.
No,
We should.
I'll throw up.
Should I switch one of these up? No.
But I'm
Big
gonna
time.
give him that one over there, that
Oh, yeah.
bumblebee on the way out.
Oh yeah, you'll like that. Yeah, you'll like
on the
that
way
one.
out.
You might like that one.
I'm not trying it. I already had it. That's the whole joke of this show. Like I don't like coffee. I don't, and so a lot of stouts are like just a real dark, like motor oil.
Yeah.
And it's like it has a coffee licorice, black licorice.
Yep.
Like, and that's all awful to me. So it's like this big thing. Like people will send in stouts. Like people will send shirts that say like I hate stouts and all this stuff for me.
Yeah.
If I drink it, it's miserable. I always blame him because I think he does it on purpose because the fans want to see it. It's awful.
Can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah. I hate it. But that did they send only one?
No, there's 2 4-packs.
Thank you, Cinderlands.
You know they ain't gonna do us like that.
That is really good. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think the way you describe it is perfect. It's like a mild IPA. I think you could drink, like I was saying, I might not have more than one. You could probably have one.
I drink more.
Like
Yeah.
IPA. What does IPA mean? Just educate me quickly.
You got it, bud.
India Pale Ale?
Yeah. It's an India Pale
India
Ale.
Pale Ale.
Okay.
Usually, I say it's my show. I'm gonna let Spence do. Oh,
You want it?
no, it's just usually the beers like you know how like your domestic that you're drinking, whether it's Iron City, Coors Light, Bud Light, Miller Lite, those domestic, those ones they mass produce, right?
Yes.
They're not hoppy, right? It's a flavored water in a nice way. I mean,
light,
it's
yes.
light. Yeah, that was so rude to say flavored water. I didn't mean it like that.
No,
but it's light, right? It's and even if you're drinking Budweiser or those heavy, it's still it doesn't have a lot of like that uniqueness. IPAs and some of these things. Now there's double IPAs and single IPAs and East Coast and West Coast, and a lot of it's just the flavor. You get some of them, you get like a pine, like you're like, oh, it's like a pine tree kind of, which I know sounds weird. Then some of them are like citrusy, right? You might get like grapefruit, or you're like, oh, that's got some citrus to it, and it has that like where it hits you back here, that little tang.
Yeah, okay.
That's the hops, right?
I got it.
I'm an alchemist.
Yeah, alchemist. Yeah.
But yeah, so now if you went and drank, your drink here, you're just like, okay, that's.
You framed it for me when you said citrus.
Yeah.
I've had some citrus ones that kind of I've liked before. I just didn't know what it was. I'm just in a brewery. Give me that in-house stuff.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing when we travel. Like I went to Aspen with Ashley recently. It's like, hey, give me a local IPA. That's what I want to try, a local IPA, something that they're brewing right there. And it just, I don't know, it's become my thing. So
that's cool.
That's kind of what we've done.
Yeah, I think the learning aspect has been the coolest part about entering, because it is craft beer culture is a culture, and you got people who are about that life, people who are it's the same like foodies. You know what I mean? You a foodie at all? So people who really get into like using local ingredients, caring about the craft, and I think that's the coolest thing. Even making friends with like the good people over at Cinderlands, it's like these people care about what they're doing. They care about the work that they're doing, and I can respect anybody who does that. And when you get a great product that brings people together on top of that, I'm sold. Yeah,
and to echo that, it's like, again, not knocking anybody, but when you have these big domestics, it's like, how much can we produce? When you get to some of these like craft stuff, it's like, I want to make this taste a certain way. I want to.
It's the process.
And have you enjoy. But when you taste that little, drier sometimes. I mean, but you can. Dry, But they have
bitter almost.
Yeah, it's just all kinds of different kind of flavors. So I
smell a home brewery coming, huh?
We tried it once.
It was so bad.
It was awful.
There was no saving grace. There wasn't even like something we could have been like, well, at least it's.
No, it was what it was.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we tried. We did try. We were stoked about it.
But this was really good. So
yeah.
I want to get into this is like fun, but this is going to lead us down some fun. Like,
let's do it.
College. Even a smaller school than me. William and Mary. What is that? The Fighting Bears or something?
The Tribe.
Just the Tribe.
Yes.
Is that still like allowed? Can you say that?
If we just refer to it as the Tribe.
Okay.
We were a little bit more artful than Miami. We were a little bit more elusive.
Well okay. Yeah, we went from the Redskins to the Red Hawks. So.
You know what I mean? The Tribe.
The Tribe.
What?
Yeah. We can describe a group of people.
And you went through. Very true. You were a wide receiver there. Some people, I'm sure most people know that. Tell me, what kind of a wide receiver were you? Were you a speed guy? Were you a route runner? Were you
here's the thing,
go-to guy?
When you're an FCS football player, your perception can be skewed. In that environment, I was a deep ball guy.
Okay.
And so there was a perception that I was a deep ball guy. But in the world that you and I are familiar with, I was not a deep ball guy. And that's what's so funny, because you know how it is, man. Perspective is everything, right? The guys that I played college ball with, I was a deep ball guy.
Yeah.
But I've been exposed to so much more football since college that I have the harsh realization that I was a deep ball guy in that environment.
Were you guys a running team or a throwing team or like a
balance? Okay. Balanced. Yeah, we
So it wasn't like you were a triple option and then you might catch like 1-2 balls a game.
I was a deep ball guy, so I was always catching 3 or 4.
Were you a one-trick pony?
But I could be described that way. I mean, bro, seriously. I'd be 3 for 75.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so yes. But we had a division of labor. We were successful. It was cool, man. I lost 2 home games in college.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we had a division of labor. We had a tenured coach. He knew what he was doing. We killed you the same every weekend. It was 250 on the ground, 250 in the air. And if we did it right, we had ball caps on in the fourth. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's what we were.
So how did you go from being a wide receiver to like a defensive coach? Like you're a defensive head coach. You're a defensive, obviously you're DB coach.
Yeah, no.
How do you go to defense from that?
I got into coaching my very first year. I was a wide receiver coach. I was a restricted earnings coach. And my mom made me promise that if I was going to continue in coaching that I would get my master's.
Okay.
And so I go to a coaching convention.
What was your first coaching job? Where was it?
VMI, Virginia Military Institute.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was
VMI.
your very first coaching?
Very first.
Out of college?
Yes.
Like right away?
Yep.
Okay.
I made $8,000 a year, man. I was on top of the world.
Absolutely. I don't think I knew
they used to
this
call it restricted earnings coach. That just means you're
That's not
broke.
like a GA. That's like a legit
It's
coach?
like lower.
Lower.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like it's like lower, bro. It's like lower. We won a class action lawsuit because you couldn't restrict someone's earnings in America. Okay, but at the time we were referred to as restricted earnings coaches. I can't even make it up.
They saw no problem with calling it that.
You know what I mean?
It's like,
that actually was the title.
It's like, what are we being sued
restricted
for?
earnings coach.
What are we being sued for? Well, you're restricting their earnings.
Like
Says who? Says the
like-
title of that job.
So the class action lawsuit begins, man. I'm like, I move on in my coaching career. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm participating. I'm gonna make it better for the next man. My wife's like, hey, you might want to leave that alone. You know, I'm like, what can they do to me that they already haven't done? You know what I mean? I'm working for the Bucks at this time. This is years later, but so I'm at VMI as a restricted earnings coach. I'm a wide receivers coach among other things, but like at those places, man, you do everything.
Yeah.
And my mom made me promise if I was going to continue in coaching that I'd get my master's. And so I go to the coaching convention that year. It's my very first coaching convention. It's in New Orleans, and I'm like hunting a GA spot. And like, you know, naive, I'm thinking like, I'll go get a GA spot, not knowing how hard these things are to come by. Long story short, the only one I could get was at Memphis, and it was a defensive GA spot. And the only reason I got that one, the head coach from Memphis, Rip Shearer, was a William and Mary graduate. And he kind of recognized me and knew who I was. And just on the strength of the alma mater game,
Dang.
I got on. And so it wasn't an agenda. It was a GA job.
Sure.
It just happened to be on defense. And I went on from there. Keith Butler was on that staff as the outside linebacker and special teams coordinator.
Was Randy there?
And no, Randy was not. He was at Purdue. He had left, but I met him through that networking relationship. And Butts was a guy who really took an interest in my growth and development. You know, because again, I had no defensive background, and so I go to his office during downtime and learn defense, talk defense, and stuff like that. And that was the beginnings of it for me.
Was Butts the same back then as he was?
Absolutely.
I can imagine.
Absolutely do. My wife used to refer to him as that Jeff Foxworthy guy.
Butts is great. I love Butts.
Like, just beautiful. Same guy.
Yeah.
Same guy. But my wife had never really been around, like, a Southern guy like that. Like, my wife from Jersey, man. She's like, she thought it was an act. You know what I mean? That's why she called him the Jeff Foxworthy guy. Like, she thought it was like, you know,
if you didn't know any better, you would think it was
you know what I'm saying?
He's
I'm
funny.
like, no, babe, that's him. Stop. You know, you're insulting him, you know?
I didn't know. Did Kia go to William and Mary too?
Yeah.
That's where y'all met?
Yeah.
I didn't realize she went there.
Yeah. She was a gymnast.
I knew she was a gymnast.
Yeah.
I didn't know William and Mary had gymnastics there.
Yep.
I don't know what sports y'all have there.
Hey, stop acting like this is some obscure outpost, okay? It's a pretty solid institution.
Miami's a Power 5 compared to William and Mary.
I swear, I would pay for the transportation for that road game. I would love to see the Tribe roll into Oxford, Ohio. I'm telling you. Hey, ADs, make it happen. Make it happen.
Oh boy.
You know what I mean? I pay for that. Just for the potential to be able to kind of have him tight for a weekend, because he'd be tight. He'd be tight.
Come on.
He'd be tight. He'd be like, oh, come on, Red
we have to make this
Come on,
happen
Red
now.
Hawks. Hey, don't disappoint me.
We got issues going on there right now. We got issues. We want, I'm not going to edit this, but we want Mike Bath. I want Mike Bath. Sorry.
I'm familiar with Bath.
I know.
From my time.
When Mike Bath was a quarterback ahead of me. So he was a senior when I was a freshman. Mike Bath was the type, and I love Mike to death. Mike knows this, and he would never mind me saying this. if and when Mike threw an interception, you know this, he was the dude, like most quarterbacks when you throw a pick, it's like, okay, like I'm going to kind of go backwards and be the last line of defense. Some quarterbacks just go to the ground. They give up. Some quarterbacks that can't give up will like work their way backwards, try and be last line, maybe trip a guy up, get tagged, do something, get a penalty. Mike Bath was the guy that ran past everybody and tried to knock the guy out because it was anger. It was like he was built like a linebacker too.
It was.
And he would try. And I think there were a couple of times he hurt himself, like making the tackle. Like it was. I love Mike. I would. Mike Bath is an awesome guy. Like,
I rally behind that quarterback.
Oh, he's great
for sure.
Those are good teams, man.
Yeah.
Seriously. Touchdown, Travis
Prentice.
Yeah, those are good teams.
Trevor Gaylor,
Sly Johnson.
Yeah, Ty Buxton. Those guys. Those were all like when I got there, they were just on their way out and seniors. You know, I don't know if you remember Mike Montgomery. So went to Findlay and was a senior when I was a freshman. So he hosted me, defensive end line, kind of had some knee stuff. His son is the #1 lineman. He's at Ohio, just went to Ohio State. He's like enrolled, tackle.
Wow.
Enrolled early, like #1 tackle either in the state or like 2 in the country, like big time. He's 6'5", 3, like 3,
Hey,
3, just over 3.
What is the latest on your little cousin's boy? How big is that human now?
He's big. They both transferred out. One went to Bowling Green, transferred out. And they're both at Tiffin now. They transferred to Tiffin, just
so they're teammates
being together. Yeah.
Oh,
so yeah.
But I've been to Tiffin, man. I spoke at that clinic years ago.
Nate Washington. Tiffin.
Nate Washington.
And our boy Derek.
Yeah.
He's from Tiffin.
Yeah.
Well, since we're on the college real quick, I'd love to get your thoughts, especially because Dino, is he still at Maryland? Is he
Boston College.
Oh, he transferred to Boston? I thought he was at Maryland.
Yeah, he was. He transferred last January.
I don't even know. That's what happens when we
don't
work together anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, But since it's the portal, this would be what are your thoughts on the portal and NIL? It'd be different because you got a boy in it too.
I'm gonna shock you.
Okay. Because I would love to know how if you're a college coach, I want to know what you thought.
Yeah.
And has it changed? Because I have feelings.
I think from a college coach's perspective, I would hate it.
Yeah. Agreed.
It is difficult to mold developing young people under those circumstances. As a parent, when they have access to NIL and their own finances, they're more difficult to manage. Mm-hmm. So I understand the issues from that perspective. But I think just largely, I'm a proponent of what's transpired.
Okay.
I think that, forget my kids. There's so many kids in that circumstance that have needs, their families have needs, and that's a means of supporting those needs. I see it. When my oldest boy went to college and is playing Power 5 football, I look at his friends and the conditions that they come from, their home life, like it is really been a positive thing in the lives of a lot of people who need it. It is inconsequential in the life of my kid, and personally, I wish he didn't have it because I could keep better track of him.
Yeah.
But I see the benefit, man. It's life changing in some instances.
Mm-hmm. But what about the kids that are getting paid more than NFL guys? So Ryan, my agent, was in California, and there's this quarterback that he went to see, is a senior in high school, that has like a 3-year, $15 million NIL deal. Come on now.
The extreme ends of it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, but it needs to be some levels of control in terms of managing the outliers. Mm-hmm. But I'm just talking about the regular stuff. The vast majority of the kids, they're getting things that are making life more comfortable for them, maybe allows them to live independent of their families in totality, and that's probably a good thing, or maybe even have enough to maybe help their family in some instances, fly their mom out for a game in instances where she wouldn't be able to, and things of that nature. I'm just talking about the masses.
Yeah. Okay.
The outliers.
Well, the problem is you don't hear about the masses.
Yeah.
Like you hear about the big deals that
I
are
agree
ridiculous.
With you. The outliers, crazy.
Come on, Evan.
But I guess I'm just talking about the average Power 5 kid.
Yeah.
I'm probably looking at it from that perspective.
Sure.
It's a cool thing in some instances.
Do you think that has, or what do you think?
Man, this is some.
We can keep talking about this.
Yes.
We got to keep talking about this.
There's some cute stuff you got.
This is Evan. Evan is like a crowd favorite. Like the people are like, we want more Evan. So
this is almost too cute to eat, but I'm gonna eat it.
So part of the deal is we bring Evan in, and when we have people come on, this is a new segment. We're trying to do like food, right? One more F. And so he tries to figure out like where the person's from, like maybe there's something unique or what they did. And so like he was like, well, from Virginia, like we can do boiled peanuts, Virginia ham. Like what are we trying to do? So Evan comes up with this menu, and we're trying to create a footballing like cookbook with Evan. I think it'd be sweet. But Evan, what do we have? That's kind of cool. It's all homemade. What we got?
It's my play on Virginia country ham and biscuits. So it's a biscuit with cheddar and jalapenos in it. And then you got the Virginia ham, a little bit of cheddar cheese on there, and honey mustard, like a honey mustard sauce.
I can
Did it
appreciate
have to be so like large?
Yeah, I'm from like 30 minutes from Smithfield, which is like Smithfield ham.
Yep.
So yeah, excellent.
So all right.
Thanks, Evan. Thanks, Evan.
Excellent. Appreciate you.
You will. Yeah, I want to ask him a question.
Yeah, I'm always curious with the NIL stuff, and I think about the impact it's going to have on the professional level, because obviously in the college level, historically, it's always been the stepping stone in which you prove yourself to get to the league. And I'd be curious to hear your input as somebody who famously rejects comfort. You'd mentioned that it could provide these kids a level of comfort who are in situations where that money might, help out the family, which I love. I love that opportunity is available. But do you think it's going to have any significant impact on the professional level of the game?
At the end of the day, no.
Why is that?
In terms of impacting us as a professional level, no. I think professional football competing at the highest level is a dream. I think NILs and the money that they can earn while playing college football makes that time in their life more comfortable, more enjoyable, et cetera, et cetera. But maybe in some instances it can delay their pursuits of the NFL by 12 months. Sure. But I think even in that instance, we're talking about the outlier. I think the outlier examples dominate a lot of the discussion.
Sure.
I got two boys that play Division I college ball, and so I just see kind of the totality of it. And in most instances, it's cool little things that make them more comfortable, that ease the burden of college life, as we all know it. Hey, how am I going to wash my clothes, et cetera? It's stuff like that. Now, at the major programs and the major players, sure, there needs to be some regulatory adjustment, man, just for competitive fairness, first and foremost, just as a fan. Mm-hmm. Competitive fairness is a big component of it if you're talking about just keeping all fans engaged, as opposed to it being an arms race where a limited number of people get a chance to participate. And so, I think no question the outliers are crazy. It needs to be something from a regulatory standpoint. But the vast majority of the kids, man, it's just a pretty cool thing, man. They get a chance to eat a free meal and stuff. And they don't have to look over both shoulders like Ben did when he was in Oxford getting the free meals.
Get nothing.
You know what I mean?
Nothing.
Like he didn't have to sneak and get the free meal.
Hey, look at us now.
Yeah, look at us now.
You know what I mean?
Get you in, Coach.
Yeah, man, you know it.
Get a piece of that. Well, mine's almost gone.
That is delicious.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
That biscuit, all homemade. Thank you, Evan.
Man.
Yeah. Well, while you dig into that,
I dinner tonight. Dang.
I'm gonna ask you this as you're eating that, enjoying it. This is a quick, easy question, I think, because it kind of goes off that. Because I think you asked me this, or someone asked me this last week, because we were talking about golf, like that new live and all that stuff. And I think you asked me, do I ever think there'll be another USFL, XFL, anything that can compete with the NFL? And I said never. That can really, truly compete. Like the live is really, they're taking some of the best players. Do you think they'll ever, I should say never, that's probably a bad way to say it. But I just think there's so much money in the NFL, and it's like the king. I don't think there'll ever be a league that can compete with it.
It'd have to be a global league. It'd have to be something not in the continental U.S., not in the northern, North America.
Yeah.
It would have to be global. It would require global money.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think people care that much globally about the NFL.
Yeah, but you said ever.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
So
that's I wonder.
The development of the game on a global level. I'm a football fiend, man. I watch like any football. Like there's this new European League of American Football.
I don't even know.
It looks like D3.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you watching the XFL?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, you're like all in. But are you in it to like look for players, or are you in it just because you love football?
I watch football.
Yeah.
Like there's this league called the
A7s.
A7s, man. It's based out of like Eastern Pennsylvania, Maryland, Jersey, and it is tackle football, no pads. It is awesome. It is online. A7s.
No pads.
No pads.
No helmet.
These guys are goons. They're unbelievable.
Like rugby.
Yes.
It's like the stuff that Chris Kiyamatsu would be really good at.
Hey, man. These guys are goons,
What are they calling
man.
out there?
Hey, man. You can buy a franchise, okay? I've been strongly considering it. I think there's a team in Allentown is like the closest team to us, man.
I'll go in with you.
Oh, man. You know something
Could you imagine if this team owned by Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger?
I got a lot of Samoan cousins.
Give it 5 minutes.
Right?
Give it 5 minutes tonight. Promise me that.
A7s.
A7s.
Do you ever? What was that game called? Do you ever see that Netflix joint? It was the World Champions or something where they fight each other. What was that thing you were just talking about?
Oh, that I showed you on the. Oh, I showed somebody.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the ones where they play over in Sicily?
Yeah, and they fight.
Oh, it was like a combination of UFC, football, soccer, rugby. Like if you go to the ground, you have to. It's home games. Home games.
I don't know. We're doing a great job at explaining it. But but it's this game where there's only one game a year. You can only play for the team of the region that you're born in.
Oh wow!
And the first line of defense is like it's a bare knuckle fight.
Hey,
it's just like I got to get this ball here, but the first line of defense is just war, dude.
Yeah,
and you roll in.
It's crazy. It's one of the most violent things I've ever seen.
People and they don't get paid for it. It's for honor.
No.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So, is there anything in the XFL that you're
home
seeing?
game? It's called. There's a whole series called Home Game.
Home Game.
And they do all these different games of like sports or whatever you've never heard of. And it was the very first episode, and I was like, it makes your eyes like, holy smokes.
I'm into that.
Or you got to say something?
I was saying, is there anything you say you're watching the XFL? Is there anything that you're watching in the XFL that you like for the game as a whole?
Just from a rules perspective?
Yeah. Because you're on competition committee, right?
Yeah.
What about the kickoff thing? Is that something that's interesting or not really?
It's all of it's interesting. I pride myself in like not being resistant or open to change, while at the same time, man, I'm kind of I appreciate the historical perspective of certain aspects of the game, and you lose something, man, when you minimize those plays. You know what I mean? Like
on a kickoff return on the sideline.
Yeah, like you lose Devin Hester.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Deliver that again. I know you want to deliver that. I know you want to deliver that again.
I just thought of it when you talk about that play. Like, we're not bringing controversy up.
Spence,
on
I love he can just like enjoy, my misery, man. I'm minus $100K.
At one of these points, when you retire,
my kids,
we're gonna talk about
tuition or what have you.
They got NIL deals. They're fine.
Call back.
No, I agree. Devin watching that uniqueness. Danny Smith will be out of the job.
It's just the historical component of the game, man. Like, I'm always hesitant on some of those things because it just, there's the unintended consequence of those things. For example, you'll appreciate this. In an effort to make the game safer, take the head out of the game, and all the things that we've done, we're also now looking at this hip drop tackle. That when the head's behind and you fall on the back of someone's legs, the lower body injury is associated with that. But that's probably an unintended consequence of, an effort to take the head out of the game. We've been teaching head behind tackles, rugby tackles for a decade now.
Yeah.
And so we got a generation of guys who are oftentimes head is behind the ball carrier, and how do you stop their forward momentum when your head's behind,
falling,
then dropping.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing knees, ankles.
But how many guys have? I mean, I've heard it many times. Guys like, man, hit me in the head over blowing my ACL out. Like I don't know whether you mean it or not, but there's a lot of guys that would rather take that chance up here rather than that let me catch a ball and get my knee blown out.
I understand the sentiment.
I do too.
But you know, as an entity, man, we're responsible for the safety of guys.
I understand
that whether they want it or not.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You know what I mean?
I
just, you know, I'm speaking with my competition committee hat on.
Well, speaking of that, which obviously you're not going to give us any information, because I was actually on my thing, because that quarterback push play that the Eagles do, well, I mean, other teams have done it. I've sat down, it's on record. When we were in the middle of the season, maybe early in the season, I'm like, I bet you anything, when that season's over, they're going to find, the competition committee is going to come together, and they're going to figure out a way to, you can't just say you can't do it, because that happens. Like, think about the times that a runner's run, he gets to the 1 yard line, he's held up, and then the linemen come, and you can't say you can't push. I believe you can't pull, right?
Correct.
That's a rule, but you can push.
Correct. So
at some point, I said this, Spence, didn't I? That they're gonna try and find a way to say, okay, only one guy can push, or there's gonna be some sort of a thing, right? But my question isn't necessarily about what the rule is gonna be, because I know you're on the committee. As a defensive coach or as a coach, how do you stop that play? If the rule never changes, can you even stop? Can you stop a team from getting 1 yard?
I think
Guy?
whether or not you can stop someone from getting a yard, man, it's a lot of variables in that discussion. Mm-hmm. Environment being a component of it.
Agreed.
You know, stadium, home, away, etc. But I think we're going to see the defensive coaches' collective response to it in 2023. And I think that probably that's what's going to create the larger, broader discussion about whether or not it's going to continue to exist. Because I think one of the things that I'm hearing in coaching circles is that the defensive coaches are going to push as well. And so now you're going to get back to the very things that were outlawed on the field goal.
It's going to turn into rugby scrum.
Well, the push was outlawed on field goal.
Oh, you mean getting it back that way? Yeah.
For player safety on the field goal game. And so what is it going to look like when both sides are pushing? Is that going to be a desired look? What's going to be the unintended consequences of that?
But still, if you're an offense and you have the advantage of the snap count, like you said, and I get home, and if you have the advantage of a snap count, because that's what people, like I think someone asked me, well, why not even Casey Hampton was in there, and you told him to go low, and if you need 1 yard, the timing of a snap and the quarterback being able to use his cadence, you can't stop a half a yard or a yard. If you get three guys pushing, why not put Casey Hampton at fullback and push the quarterback?
But that's ball when you're good anyway, right?
I get it.
Nobody when you're good, right? Nobody can stop you from getting a yard.
But why aren't teams?
That's the essence of the game, man. Like, but
the next time people are going to put 2 D linemen or that big old lineman back there and say, okay, now you're going to push him too. It's just going to turn into like how many guys can you get
there's only so many guys going to be allowed in the backfield due to the rules of the game, and so there's going to be a limit to where that ends. I just think the significant component of the discussion is what is it going to look like when the defense starts pushing? Yeah, and you got these 2 units pushing, and the consequences of that from a health and safety perspective, from an entertainment perspective. What's that going to look like? And so I think that's where the discussion is going to be, but where it's going to lie, I can look at it from a 360-degree perspective. Like, I don't care. Like, because if it's available to everyone, then everybody's going to be able to get a yard. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so from that standpoint, it's going to be fair. It's just, is it entertaining to the dude in his basement? Yeah. Does you know what I mean?
Why'd you point at Ben when you said that?
Because I just imagine him in his basement saying,
"What are we doing here?
What is that?" Back when I used to have to sneak, I had no assistance. They're like, "Get out of the way!" I'm pushing guards out of the way.
Absolutely, that is so true. So true.
Is that something is like being on the competition committee and anticipating the defense to have an answer for it, that you guys are concerned about player safety with what you would anticipate them to do? Is that something that you regulate beforehand? So they're not able to, or do you have to let that play out and see what happens?
You know, in some instances, yes. In some instances, you're willing to let it play out. I don't know where this discussion is going to lie.
Sure.
I don't know if the 2 units pushing is going to lead to what I suggested. I just think that that's kind of been the shape of the discussion, and we'll see where it goes this spring. You know, I think that, you know, I think that allowing people to push largely has been those instances that you initially described. I don't think from a rules perspective that they envision what we're seeing right now. And I think that's what's producing the discussions. There's always unintended consequences of people manipulating language in an effort to find a winning edge. And when we're uncomfortable with it, usually there's a change in the language. When we're not, usually it becomes a global thing, and its impact becomes less significant and less a topic of discussion.
Sure.
You know, so I think that's where all of this is going to lie. Where it's going to land, I don't think any of us know. But I think if you've been in it any length of time, you kind of see the framing of the discussion and how it's going to, you know, the track that it's going to be on.
It's funny because my last, not really a competition committee question, but I wrote this note down when we were sitting down here watching the playoff game, and I'm like, if I ever get coach on here, I'm going to ask him.
There you go.
And I have it. The Kansas City-Cincinnati game. Again, I'm not trying to ask you anything crazy, but when they redid the down, the old redo. Now, obviously, they're saying that the ref was in the back. They redid the down. I know if I'm on offense, you're excited as how do you feel as a coach when that happens?
Advantage offense on a redo to down.
Absolutely.
100% of the time.
Absolutely.
100% of the time. 100% of the time.
And it happened, right?
100% of the time. You redo anything.
How can you
it's
do
advantage
a redo
the guy
down?
with the ball in his hands.
How can you redo it? I don't understand how that happens. Like I said, I'm not trying to get you in trouble. I'm just saying.
You asked me a global kind of question.
I know.
And I gave you a definitive global answer. You know what I mean?
I do have some other like coaching, get into coaching kind of questions, and I would love to get into some stories and whatever. But I was trying to figure out at some point. I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't. And I feel like now might be a good time to do it, because I know it's going to be a little bit of a somber thing, and I don't want to do that at the end. But I would love to get, actually, because I just got a text from him not long ago about coming on the show, Ryan Shazier. He wants to come on the show, which obviously it's a sad story that has turned out. Obviously, you know, he's doing great things. But I would love to get your perspective as a head coach that was on the field when that happened. I mean, we just saw something happen last year with DeMar Hamlin, right? Did you have a relationship with? I don't know. Did you know him at all? Okay, I figured you did.
Oh yeah.
With that, but obviously with Ryan's thing, like what? Looking back on it and thinking, and then seeing what happened with him on the same field, which is freaky, right? What was take me through the Ryan thing in your mind?
I think first of all, I knew it was really serious instantly by the way he rolled off of that tackle, the way the play came to an end. It was an unnatural look. And so, like, I knew instantly it was a real problem. I think, and just largely, let me say this, man, it was probably the darkest professional day I've ever had. Like, to have a guy laying like that. And so that, I just want to frame it from that perspective. Like, there's nothing worse as a coach.
Agreed.
There's nothing worse. But I think when I got to him, he was so conscious in communicating that I was naive. I think a significant part of me said it's going to be okay, because he was Ryan. Mm-hmm. He was like, "Oh man, coach, I can't feel my legs. Oh my God." I'm like, "Ryan, relax, man." And because he could articulate it so well, it led you to believe, okay, man, this is going to be some temporary paralysis.
If he was out not talking, then you're like,
yes.
Yeah, I hear that.
When I got to him, he was communicating with me. Mm-hmm. And so that just created probably unrealistic and probably inappropriate kind of comfort in me in the big picture of things. You know, and so even though I knew, man, this is real, this is a major deal, I think part of me thought 10 minutes later, somebody was going to tap me on the shoulder. Hey, he's wiggling his leg.
Yeah.
Hey, he's got feel. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it became scarier for me the longer things went on, and that did not happen. Yeah. If that is real for you.
Oh yeah.
But he created the unrealistic comfort in me because of how conscious he was, how articulate he was about what was going on with him. That he kind of got me to the point where I was focusing some of my energies on some others. Like Vince Williams was uncontrollable.
Yes, for sure.
And so he was articulating so well, and I'm like, Vince, look, man, he talking to us. It's cool. Like, let these docs work. Mm-hmm. You know, that type of deal. And so, you know, obviously.
Well, it's weird because you go from worrying about him to now worrying about, like, you got to control other people too.
But again, he created kind of a comfort in me. Unrealistic, you know, but he did it. Yeah. Because he was just so articulate about what was going on. And so, like I said, you know, probably inappropriately so, I just had an expectation that somebody was going to tap me on the shoulder and give me some positive update that I could share with the guys. You know, that's what I'm thinking as he left the stadium in the vehicle. The longer it went on and that did not happen, obviously the initial fear that I had returned. And by the end of the game, obviously, I was scared to death, man. Like, to be a part of that, right? Just sidebar, like Boz kicked a game-winning field goal or whatever. You ever been a part of a game like that where, like, there was a game-winning field goal on, like, the last play of the game, man, and we walked out of the stadium like that? Like,
I couldn't. If you would have asked me, truthfully, like,
you probably don't even remember whether or not we won.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
no clue.
It was odd. It was just odd on a lot of levels, but and so after the game, my whole deal was to get to the hospital, and obviously when I got to the hospital, then I knew the worst fears was realizing, like, this is where we are, man. This is what we're dealing, you know. But in stadium, Ryan created a false sense of comfort in me that was unrealistic just by the way
it's interesting he
responded.
I remember thinking that, like, every time we went and saw him at the hospital, or every day you just woke up like, okay, he's like, is he good? Back to normal? Like same thing. Like, is he going to come back? And it was, that's interesting. You say that about Ryan, like, creating that.
And you know Ryan, man, like, the things that make him special and stuff, like that dude, he created that in everybody.
Yeah.
Like the docs, the nurses, the rehab people, like his spirit kind of, you felt dirty because his spirits uplifted us.
Yeah.
Like he's at Mercy or wherever he was. I'm going to the hospital every day, man. I'm leaving. He's helping me feel better every day. I'm like, thanks, Ryan. See you tomorrow.
Spirit, right?
Yeah. See you tomorrow, man. Yeah. You know what I mean?
We'll get him on the show and ask him why he's so positive about that. Why are you going to do that?
Like, that's kind of that's the story within the story that I've probably never expressed. I probably had a false sense of comfort about the circumstances, and he is the reason why. In stadium. In deep. Stadium.
I never thought about that. That's
yeah, I mean, it all makes sense though, right?
Because when I got to, like I said, I saw how he fell, and so I'm like, whoa.
Right.
And so when I don't know if I even waited for a signal from the ref, I went to the field because I just saw how the play came to an end. But when I got to him, man, he was conscious and talking and clearly, and so, you know, it just probably inappropriately created a sense of comfort in me.
Well, it gave you evidence for the hope that you had. You see something right, that's like, oh no, and then you're hoping for the best.
Absolutely.
And then you see
and he gave it
sliver
to
of
me.
evidence. Okay.
Yeah, he gave it to me
Yeah.
to the point where I'm like, hey, Vince, man, get yourself together,
go.
man.
We
Look
gotta
at him,
play.
man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah,
crazy.
that's wild, man.
Well, like I said, I had to hit that because that just felt like. I mean, how do you not? But why don't you get us in? Let's go another beer, and then I want to transition into some like more fun stuff.
Yeah.
Like I want to talk Super Bowl. I want to talk.
Yeah.
Like like what you remember from 2 specific plays.
Yeah.
I want to get your best story, like a football story. I want to get you something. So
Cool.
Let me ask this one off while I'm pouring this then, because obviously you appeared on RC show, which I thought was a great appearance. They have a great show over there. I thought your appearance was awesome to watch. I'll give you that. But you had mentioned that in that appearance, you had mentioned that your failure as a player motivated your coaching.
Yeah.
And that you haven't let that go.
Yeah.
I believe is the way you worded that. Would you rather win 3 more Super Bowls as a coach or 1 as a player?
Oh man, I'll take a game check, man. I'll play. You know what I mean? I was that type of a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, are you kidding? I give it all up. I give it all up for a 53-man roster spot.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I think that's why we all coach. I think we all coach because we can't play or we can no longer play. If you really love the game, if you really love what we do, I think that's the sole motivating
That's why I'm not
factor.
coaching, because I can still play.
I believe that.
No,
I believe that.
He's played enough. that thirst is quenched.
Well, Mike,
you know what I
if it
mean?
makes you feel better, I can't play or coach. So
Yeah.
Hey.
I think you're doing pretty good at the coaching.
Yeah.
Head coaches are getting younger and younger. Like you were the youngest, I believe, to win a Super Bowl.
Yes.
Did McVay take it?
Yes.
I told you this. McVay was a freshman when I was a senior in Miami. My last year. I mean, these coaches are getting younger and younger,
Yeah.
right? So you came in as, you're not obviously a young guy anymore. You've
Yeah.
been doing it for a long time.
That's probably
Too many
one,
longs?
maybe 2 too many longs.
There's a lot of
you know, it was long. It was just maybe
You've
1 or
been
2.
doing so long.
It's so long.
Yeah.
But because they're so young and you came in as a young coach, if there was one piece of advice to give one of these guys, what would you give them?
Wise counsel.
Seek wise counsel.
Seek wise counsel, man. Like, don't hide behind your position. Show true confidence in the seeking of wise counsel. That was one thing that I was committed to. That's why my staff was constructed the way it was constructed. Like, I was probably on the job 7-8 years before the transition of the staff in terms of age, where the guys were my age or younger. I just wanted to surround myself with wise counsel and not my friends. And so that's always what I don't give a lot of advice, because these are lonely jobs and you got the job because of your leadership skills, independent thinking, et cetera, belief in self. But I tell them to surround themselves with wise counsel, man, that they better do that. Because it's just the twists and turns, the complexities of the job. There is no substitute for experience. And so, wise counsel is helpful.
That's good. Tell us about this beer, Spence. I always thought the best coaches put together good, like head coaches let coordinators coordinate, right? That's,
Letting people do their jobs.
That's
That's great.
good
What
job.
a
That's a
crazy
crazy
concept.
concept.
Yeah, that's biblical advice there too, Coach T.
Wise counsel,
Wise
bro.
counsel, man. This is a grapefruit shandy.
I was gonna say, it tastes like
Yeah,
something
you're
fruity.
gonna hate this, dude. You hate grapefruit. It's an ale brewed with grapefruit. It's called Richmond Rally Cap. It is from Ashland, Virginia. Straight out of the VA.
Here.
Here we go. And a little bio here says when
He's instantly going to not like it. His position is established.
No, Mike Vick's from there. That's my boy.
Like his
Find
position.
some other saving grace.
Mike Vick's my guy.
His position is established.
It says, when the game is on the line and your hometown team needs that extra push, grab your Richmond Rally Cap, pop the top, and let your voice be heard. The Richmond Flying Squirrels and Center of the Universe Brewing, this is where this is from, are proud to present this grapefruit shandy, sure to fuel the charge and fan the flames of victory. Play brew. Like play ball, but play brew.
Oh, that's the Richmond minor league baseball squad.
Yes, sir.
Bet.
Yeah, so it's the...
It used to be like a Braves affiliate. What are they now?
See, I don't know. I'm going to be honest, this is the first time me hearing about the Richmond.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
This is great.
You like it, don't you?
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I know. I just
Nothing against you guys. Nothing against.
I just want to get my position out first.
Nothing. It
smells
just
delicious.
Yeah, it's okay.
But you hate grapefruit.
I don't like grapefruit.
That's very good.
Yeah,
You know what?
it's
It tastes like.
whatever. It's fine.
I'm gonna read the next one, and I'm just gonna make it up.
Yes. Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna dictate whether or not he likes it or not, just based on the description. Like this Northwest Ohio lager.
Oh, spectacular beer! Spectacular
From the rivers of Toledo. You know what I mean? He was like, "Oh, this is great stuff."
I was going to say Mon River, but
It's the red hot.
who else is from your area? Who are the big wigs from your area?
Everybody,
right?
Everybody.
Like that's what I was trying to explain.
Like when I grew up, like Lawrence Taylor, Bruce Smith, Kenny Easley, Ron Springs. Those were the guys. Mel Gray were the guys that I kind of grew up on.
It's like
that kind of created a generation for us. But the group younger than me, man, the Ronald Currys, the Michael Vicks, the Aaron Brookses, those guys
crazy.
were something, man.
The people that came
Isn't-
out of that
Yeah,
area.
Dre
Isn't Pharrell
Bly,
from there?
D'Angelo Hall.
Pharrell. Isn't Pharrell
Yes.
from? Dave Grohl's from there.
Pharrell, Missy Elliott, Timberland, they all in my age group, man.
Pharrell's an athlete?
No,
No,
not to my knowledge.
What sport you think he would play for Pharrell?
Soccer.
You think, yeah.
No.
I was gonna say like
I was
a
gonna say
little guard in basketball
like
or something.
a little
Maybe.
pickleball, maybe.
Pickleball.
Yeah. I don't know that
pickleball.
pickleball existed, man, when we were coming up. This is a new thing. I'm
long
like,
time
I'm like,
ago.
what's wrong with that court right there? My daughter's like, Dad, that's pickleball.
What's wrong with that court?
I have a controversial question as we start going into Super Bowls, and you don't have to answer it.
That's a great start. That's a great start.
I love it.
But maybe you'll answer it in the most Mike Tomlin kind of way, where you never answer the question, but you just
Allegedly.
dance.
Allegedly.
You know how you dance.
I'm not going to confirm or deny what the hell you just said.
That is your spiritual gift.
Best defense you've coached. That Bucks D or the which Steelers defense you think is better? 08 or 10? You think that's? I don't know. That's just my opinion. Who's the best defense we've had since you've been here? Which, without giving anybody a slight, we've had some great defenses. Just
I just thought the 10 group.
yeah. I mean that's
So the 10 group beat you up.
yeah.
It beat you
Saw
up.
that.
And so you're not going to like the answer to this. Just in terms of physicality, without a doubt, the 10 group.
Yeah.
The Buck group was a splash play group. And so it's different.
Yeah.
Like what are you talking about? Like you're talking about a bar fight, you're talking about football. That 10 group created the player safety initiative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I
seriously, let's be honest. We're talking about historical perspective. Like that collection of men created what we know now as the player safety initiative. Like the powers that be,
I know your best ain't no bad dudes.
the powers that be watched them play, and they said, "This is not good for football. This is not good for the future of football." And so, like from that perspective, man, how could you not? I respect,
of course.
like that group. The Tampa group, the splash play ability of that group was sick. Equally as sick as the physicality of the 10 group.
Yeah.
Like Derek Brooks scored 5 touchdowns that year.
Yes, he did.
5.
Yes, he did.
Like 5. Like we scored how many defensive touchdowns did we score in the Super Bowl game itself? 4
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was
or 3?
Yeah.
3 or 4?
Not by your Hall of Famer either, right? Was it Dexter Jackson? Who's
Dexter.
Hold on,
No,
Evan,
Dwight Smith had
Dwight
2.
Smith. Yeah.
Dwight Smith had 2. Derek Brooks had 1 for sure. Maybe there was another one. I can't remember. But like every week in the NFC Championship, Rondi had a pick 6 that won the game.
Yeah.
In the week before that, in the divisional game against San Fran, I think Rondi had a pick 6. Like every week that team scored. I think that team scored 13 touchdowns or something like that.
Probably more than some offenses.
Like, and so they were different.
Yeah.
But like in the same neighborhood in terms of man, I'm in the middle of something special here, like something historic here. You know that like I'm with the group, but they were very different. And so you tell me what environment I'm going in, I'll tell you what group I want to take with me.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
That's a good answer.
You know what I mean?
All right, we got some fresh cut French fries with truffle oil, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and a sriracha aioli.
Hey, I love how you make this very official by giving him a microphone right there.
Oh, yes.
And all of that.
He actually asked for the microphone.
I requested it. Yeah,
I like that. Hey,
I wanna
keep
be
making
heard.
requests.
yeah. We'll see what I can get away with.
And no doubt.
He wanted
no
us-
doubt, press the limits.
He wants Gino Malkin on the show. Gino. Did you coach
what we're
that room
looking
or
at.
did that room coach you? Those are some old heads,
Both.
right?
You know how it is, man.
Uh-huh. That's what I'm saying.
When you're
learn a lot.
when you're a young coach, like, yeah, I had a job to do in terms of getting them prepared and preparedness and stuff like that. But when you coach unique guys, they rewrite convention and rules in terms of how you coach, right? You know what I mean? Like, the mental capacity of Barber as a nickel, it challenged me to coach him different. Like, he'd be like, hey, man, when they run that counter away, man, you want me to chase that guard? Like, yeah.
You say it just like that?
Yeah.
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 That's
So
good.
now I got to coach it.
Right.
You know, now I'm coaching Sam linebacker because he sees it like a Sam linebacker. You follow me? I think that whenever you have unique players, whenever you have great players, you're learning from them and applying the things that they do naturally that they can't articulate, and you try to teach others.
Because you'd be negligent not to not take something from a great player.
No.
And
Here's the
use
thing.
it. Like to say, like a great player comes and says, I'm going to do this. No, don't do that. You're not on the field. He's on the field.
Here's the thing. Forget them. They do it.
Yeah.
They might not even be able to articulate how or why they do it.
Sure.
That's what makes them who they are. I think the key is, and the thing is, and I think the benefit that I had was I was so young in coaching that I just wasn't resisted. You know what I mean? I wasn't like, oh, no, this is how I do it. You know what I mean? And so I was so young in coaching that when Lynch would do something freaky, I'm like, what were you thinking there? What were you looking at? How can we make that a new rule? Like, how can I teach?
Like Troy, I see something, cover me.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? That's why I had such a tolerance for Troy and what made him so special, because I've been fortunate. I've been around guys that are a little bit different.
Well, as you were saying that, I was curious because you said early on you were more flexible to be more open-minded to that.
Thank you,
Do you
sir.
feel as if as you've progressed in your coaching career that you've been more or less open to player suggestion?
I don't know.
Because you have a track record.
I don't know the answer to that, because like I got shaped by you. We all get shaped by the journey.
Sure.
And so I was around these unique dudes at an early age that created this give and take and this openness in me that I've carried with me forever, that I don't know what my perspective would be like if I hadn't been exposed to them. I don't know.
Makes sense.
I don't, you know what I mean? But like, just, they were special dudes. Like, Lynch was a special guy. Barber was a special guy. Brooks was a special guy. Sapp was a special guy. How about like learning the front?
Simeon Rice, yeah.
Yeah, learning the front around guys like that. Like, I learned it in 3D. I learned how a special B-gap player controlled the game. It was commonplace to me. I knew the standard. I knew what it was. I knew what it looked like. And so when I was able to go to Minnesota, I was able to talk to Kevin Williams about, hey, look, I'll let you know when you're dominant, man, because when you're dominant, this is what changes. Yeah. you know what I mean? Because I've seen it. Like, and I think that's what being around great players gives you as a coach. Like, you know what special looks like, man. You ain't speculating. Like, you know when you're in that space. And so I think that's what was cool about like the 08 and the 010 defenses, to be a part of it. Like, I had been a part of something cool before. And so
You saw it.
I was able to appreciate it while it was happening. Like, we got one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I got.
And so that's cool.
I got one last Bucks nerd question as the resident Floridian, and then we can continue on. What was it like the transition between Dungy into Gruden?
Uncomfortable. I didn't want to be there, to be honest with you. As much as I love Lynch and Barber and them, man, Tony Dungy gave me my break in the NFL, man. He hired me.
So your coaching mentor, would you say?
Without question.
Yeah.
The guy hired.
Not a bad one, by the way.
No, it's pretty good. Like the dude hired me at 28, not as a quality control guy. Like quality control guys didn't exist. Like I was a secondary coach. Like I replaced Herm Edwards. Herm got the Jet job, and they replaced him with me. You know what I mean? And so, like, that was it for me.
Yeah.
And so when he got fired, the prospect of me not being able to go with him to be contractually held there, that thought never even crossed my mind, to be honest with you. But that's what happened. It happened because of the strength of the unique men we were talking about, right? They knew they had special players there, and so they weren't going to disrupt that. And they had our rights contractually, so all the defensive coaches, Monty Kiffin, Rod Marinelli, Joe Barry, myself, we were held under contract. And so we came with the job like furniture. I don't even know if Coach Gruden was really interested in retaining us. We probably just came with the gig. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Like I'm just looking back at it, 2020 vision. I don't know whether he was excited about it or not. Like, you know, hey, who's this 28-year-old dude? Like,
I'm sure that ring helped.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to your point, we kind of motley crew kind of came together and we had instant success. And so we all probably got over that pretty quickly.
So that helps.
Yeah.
And I'm taking off the Bucks, but it kind of the same sort of thing with the new coaches. You become a new head coach with a team. At what point, I'm sure there's a political answer, but at what point truly does it feel like your team? Right away, after your first draft class, after some of the vets are like, what point does it really feel like your team?
Year two.
So you get past the first year and then that's like, okay.
A lap around. I think very much just like a second-year player. I think if you've been a lap around the track, there's no more mystical things about, hey, what am I doing here? What does a 12-month calendar look like? What does this potentially lead to? What are the ramifications of this decision or not? Or you know what I mean? It's so many unanswerable questions on that first lap. Like, you can't answer them.
Like, do we drive back to Pittsburgh for a rainy day practice? Or
You think about
just cancel practice.
Yeah. You think about it. And so what you do is you go with your natural gut killer instinct. Like,
I'm gonna beat these guys miserable. They're gonna take a bus all the way back to Pittsburgh, and then the power goes out back there. It's awful.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
Seems way too specific to be an example.
That was just an example.
We're gonna build some collective character through misery.
Just an example. If I
it was a different era.
Common enemy, right? Common enemy.
Hey, think about this. I was telling somebody this the other day. Think about what a dinosaur you are. Okay. Think about it.
Another good segue.
What a great way to start this.
Like, think about it. Like, anybody in their early 30s or younger never had a two-a-day in their life at any level of ball. Right? Think about it. Like, the vast majority of people playing professional football right now have never had a two-a-day in their life. And so, if you come from the two-a-day era and you envision campus
full contact, like twice a day, like everything. Bang.
9
I
on
get
7
I'm a quarterback. Like I get people say, "Oh, you're a quarterback," but it doesn't matter. Like it was still.
But think about it. Like there's an era there. There's a break. There's a different perspective on the game that is just different. We all shaped by a relationship with the game, our journeys. And whether or not you're a two-a-day guy or not is significant. Just in terms of your attitudes about a lot of things. If you were raised in the era of player safety and targeting, you're different in a lot of ways.
That's why I always say, like, I got the I got both. Like I caught
Yeah.
a lot of that two-a-day,
Yeah.
and then caught this player stuff, then caught the protecting stuff. So I got to see a lot of it. And that's probably my number one question when I go speak somewhere or whatever. You know, what's the difference in the game? And I don't mean it that people now aren't tough, but I would say the toughness of the game, and I say not just physically tough, mentally tough, because to do a two-a-day in Latrobe or wherever your camp is, when it's hot and it's full pads and you're hitting, and again, I put an asterisk on, I'm the quarterback, I didn't get hit, but the fact I saw guys. And literally at those, I remember my first couple years, like if a guy rolled his ankle in practice, he went to the sideline, taped it up, and came back in. He wasn't out for a week. It's just the way it was. And I'm not saying guys, there's not real tough guys now, but it was like whether you were afraid to lose your job because then you could lose your job for it or something. It's just different. But the world is different. But it's just different.
I'm not disputing any of that, but like my parents blew secondhand smoke in my face.
Yeah, you rode in the back of the car with no seatbelt too.
I stood up in between the two seats.
I know, I get it.
You know what I mean?
Life is different. That's why I say the life
like,
of the world
it's
is
just,
different. I get it.
You know what I mean?
I don't think I ever wore a skateboarding or roller skating or biking a helmet. And now if my kids don't have a put your helmet
I know.
on, what's wrong with you?
I understand the argument totally.
Yeah.
But like it's an evolution component to this thing. And I believe in it. I don't think these guys are any less tough. I think that if these guys were put in a time machine and were in that environment, they'd still be the same guys. They'd just be dudes that went through two-a-days and doing crazy stuff. I just think they would adapt environmentally. They would adapt.
Do you think the reverse is true? That some of these hard-nosed, tough guys, people who are iconic for their physicality, would still be iconic today for their physicality if they didn't have
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I believe the power associated with that coming out of your hips and so forth, I think it travels. I think some of those things, I think outliers, special people are travel. They're like the coolest thing about the Steelers of the 70s is what big men they are. Like, those good football teams, right? Like, just look at the frames of those men. Like Mel Blount is a big human being.
Still could play, I swear.
He's a big human being. Like, he's a big human being. Like, Joe Green is a big human being. Like, Franco is a big frame human being. Like,
I shook John Colt's hand one time.
In general, the evolution of man, right?
Joe Green still scares me. I love Joe. I think Joe finally has a little bit of respect for me. I'll take a little bit of respect from Joe Green. When he shakes your hand or looks at you, like, yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, he's Mr.
Green.
Yes, sir.
He's Mr. Green.
Scary human being.
Like he's Mr. Green.
He's awesome.
I just, I see it from that perspective. Like it just, there's evolution.
Yeah.
And I tried, and I see it that way increasingly so because I got a desire to do this for an extended period of time. And so it's adapt or die for me. If you're stale, if you're resistant to the evolution, you're going to end up moving slow. You're going to be a step behind. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I just probably even now more so than ever, I'm open to that stuff, the differences. And secondarily, but probably equally as important, like just as a dad whose kids play football, like how can I hate any movement to make the game safer for them? Like I get out of bed in the morning, my hip is killing me because I fell on some AstroTurf in '93, man. I caught a jump ball and somebody cut my legs out. Okay, I fell on my hip in '93. It was AstroTurf.
But yeah, that was just concrete.
It was AstroTurf, right? They used to roll the turf out on top of some concrete, right?
That's a parking lot.
But
That's
just because my hip hurts, do I want my kid's hip to hurt too? You know what I mean?
I used to do this backwards in the snow.
I'll play it in Jordans in that game because like you wore basketball shoes because the turf was so bad. You know. Nah, man, I want them to play on good surfaces, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
I would love to, as we're kind of getting close to the end here, but I would love to start. Like, I want to hear some stories. Like, I want to hear the Super Bowl, like our Super Bowl in Tampa. What was going through your mind in James Harrison's when that play? We had James on here, so he told us the whole thing. So we loved hearing from him. But like, from your perspective, from pre-snap, everything that whatever you can remember, like what was your thoughts? How to break it down for us?
it was all happening so quick. The first half of the play, anybody other than James that tells you what they were thinking is lying. Okay? Okay? You know how it is. The initial contour of a play, you're watching everything. I'm watching everything. Boom, he's got the ball in his hands. Great. We saved 3 points.
Right. That's it.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's it.
By the time he gets to midfield, I'm starting to look up at the clock.
Were you thinking get down? Get out of bounds?
I was. Because I ain't nowhere in the world I thought he was going to make it.
Right.
Like, I didn't think he was going to make it. Like, just the stuff that was going on around him.
Everything.
People was running around him and doubling
Trying
back.
to take the ball
and
from
getting
him.
blocks.
Like
Ike was running beside him. Like, you know, it was like.
And Larry gets him if he doesn't run into someone on the sideline.
I'm telling you, it was no way I thought he was going to. So the whole time, like, the vast majority of the play, I'm wondering whether or not we're going to get 3 points out of it. I'm like, scoreboard, James, scoreboard, you know.
Yeah.
It was very late in the down before I started considering the fact that he was going to score with it, to be honest with you. And that's the truth.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was running, I'm thinking pick six, awesome. No. I was thinking 3 points. You know, he got to midfield. I'm thinking, oh, we got a field goal out of this. This is 6 points.
6 point swing. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was my perspective. Funny.
And he gets like to 10. Now you're like, is he going to get in?
And now I'm starting thinking, oh my God, because of time. Like, you know what I mean?
They're not getting anything out of it.
Yes. And then he scores and all. The funniest thing is he's down over there. And he's down, he's flat. I run over there to get him, like Norway and some other people. I go out there after him, and I look down at him, man. He's flat, man. I was like, James. He's like, I'm tired, boss. Dude, in the James sort of way.
Yeah.
I'm tired, boss. They trying to figure out what's wrong with him. You know what I mean? Because he's flat.
just dead of the world.
I'm tired, boss. I'm like, bro, it's halftime and you scored.
You get
up. like, get up, man. We got a Super Bowl halftime, man. We got plenty of time. You know?
My man wouldn't even celebrate.
Dude,
he didn't ask if he scored. He just was like,
I'm tired, boss. Is an exact quote.
Oh my
Classic James.
I love that's like in history. That's how that story ends. I'm tired, boss.
Classic James.
I'm tired, boss. Arguably one of the greatest plays in not just Super Bowl history, but football history, correct? I mean,
no doubt.
Yeah, it was just
no doubt.
To have a guy. I mean, it's one thing if
doubt.
Troy does it, it's spectacular. But you're like, yeah, you expect that from Troy, or you expect a DB, something like. But for him to drop into coverage, or whatever he did,
it's a moment in time.
Crazy.
It's a moment in time, man. The interesting thing is in today's game, and this is what I mean about special players. In today's game, that's commonplace. In zero blitzes, defensive coaches teach linebackers when the line turns to you and you're picked up by an offensive lineman, pop out.
Yeah.
It's taught today. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't taught then. And special players do things that shape coaching.
Yeah. And
that's an example of it. Did we teach it? Heck no, we did not teach it. We wouldn't have thought about teaching it. Do we teach it today? Is not only do we teach it, everyone teaches it. In zero blitzes, when the line slides your way as a stand-up defender and you're occupied by an offensive lineman, you pop out because you're not going to get there. They're going to punch you in the throat. The ball's going to be gone. And so that's just But that's what's cool, just to bring that discussion back around about how great players shape coaching. That's James Harrison's contribution to the game of football.
So the next one would be obviously Tone Sketch. When we get down there, I still say it. I think he would say it. The play before it was game over, right? I mean,
hey, bro, like, what are we talking about? Like, let's. Hey, I didn't appreciate the touchdown as much as I should have.
You're still mad
because I was still lamenting the play before. You know what I mean?
I've told people this, and whether they believe me or not, this is the truth. When I threw that ball, I had no business throwing that ball because the ball probably should have been picked. I mean, the DB took this bad little angle, did something, and I tell people that when I got down there, I forgot a field goal's all. Like I wasn't thinking 3. And I think maybe as I got older in my career, you start thinking, okay, like be more careful. And maybe that was to our advantage or whatever. But I had no thoughts about anything other than scoring a touchdown. And so when you let it go, it was like, oh boy. Okay, good job. I don't know what your thoughts were when the ball's in the air, but in my opinion, I didn't even think, because there's no reason to throw that ball knowing you need 3. No reason.
I think year 2 with you, second half of that year, I was really starting to get comfortable with what happened when those plays got extended. Mm-hmm. So I can't tell you that it scared me. It didn't. Like, dude, when you started doing this, like, when you started doing this, and particularly if you started doing this with it,
point, like, both hands involved,
good things happened.
Yeah,
like good things happened. So I know what you mean, but like, nah, like we had, you had left Baltimore directing Tone back toward the middle of the, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, think about what kind of led up to that moment. And even over like the course of those 2 seasons, I don't know that I viewed it in that way.
That's good to know.
Utter confidence in you.
When plays got extended, he ate.
Oh yeah, we got to watch that.
Yeah. So when you probably, as I can imagine, as a defensive coach, when we scored there, you probably didn't even want to celebrate because you're like, time. Like we got to stop one more time, right? Like it wasn't even like happy.
No, I was happy.
Were you?
Yeah. But again, it might have been my youth and inexperience.
Yeah.
I wasn't experienced enough to be scared about the things that had to happen to close the game out. Like, to me, like, dude, we got a holding penalty to start that drive.
First play, I tell people I try to give a Joe Montana speech. Like we got a holding, like
we got a holding to start that drive. Like that
wrong direction.
That drive started 1st and 20. Like, that's a story. That's a component of the story that never gets told. So, like, was I worried about what happened next? No, we were 1st and 20 in a 2-minute drive to win the Super Bowl, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no.
So when did it hit you? Like when I just won a Super Bowl? Like when the ball's on the ground? But I think Kiesel sack, Woodley falls on it. Was it then that you were like, did it sink in yet, or when did it sink into you?
No, you get swept up in it.
Yeah.
You get swept up in it.
Yeah.
No. You get swept. I'm trying to think. Maybe just sitting on the bus, like after all whatever.
It's a whirlwind afterwards.
There's a moment of normalcy, like when you're sitting on the bus for a minute and you're going back to the hotel. Mm-hmm. When you get back to the hotel, it's hysteria again.
Yeah.
But the moment, like on the bus, where it's a travel party,
and you can,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. There
was a cool little moment there on the bus when I just got my seat on the bus and I was like, oh man, that was pretty good. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Prior to that, and granted, I had been a part of a Super Bowl before as an assistant. Mm-hmm. And so maybe I had an anticipation of what it was going to be like, but the demands of a head coach was so different that I had no anticipation of it. Man, I got swept up into things, and I'm on the podium, I'm doing interviews, you know what I mean? Mm. Like, people brought my family to me. I saw my family much sooner than I anticipated. Like, somebody I didn't know just like handed me my daughter. Like, here she is. I'm like, oh, hey, that's convenient. Thank you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Convenient.
Like, it's so much of it is happening so fast, and it's happening around you, and you're kind of being propped up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
that's wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so it's just, you're swept up in it. Yeah. To say that you're anything other than that is probably, you're swept up in it.
I want to, because we're going to hit one more beer and then we're going to wrap the thing up. But because I have one little thing I want to do. But do you have I'm not throwing you a spot. This is hard. Do you have a good, like, player story? Like, just something unique, just That James was a great one, but just anything like could be just anything that people maybe have never heard or think would be funny or interesting, or someone doing something that made you laugh, or
It's so many, man.
I figured
it's so many.
Something.
It's so many. I got a funny Nick Eason story.
Nick Eason, holy cow! You really are. Like Troy, we get something like Nick Eason. This is awesome.
No,
Okay.
it's just so funny, man.
Okay.
It's like the off season. You know, he has a young lady friend that he's trying to impress, man. Like, he brings her down to the facility. He gives her like a facility tour. It's like a Sunday.
Okay.
You know, it's like nobody in the facility, but I'm in the facility. And so I watch all of this, you know, and I let him live. I let him live. But it's just so funny to me because he is laying it on thick. I mean, he is like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He is laying it on thick. And, you know, he's in there 20 minutes or whatever, facility tour. He was Ben's locker. Yeah, it was really tight. You know what I mean? Just whatever.
It's the big homie. You know.
It's just funny. It's beautiful. They leave the facility, and I let them leave because I didn't want to. I was going to kill him later, but I didn't want to ruin it for him at the time. And so I let them leave the facility, and they pull out or whatever. And then, so they pull out and leave. I pull out and leave, and I think I gave them enough lead where it's comfortable. But I get up South Waters, and I get to the light at the hot metal, and the light's red, and he's at the light. And so, like, I'm behind him, okay? At this point, I'm like, oh, man, I hope he doesn't see me out. You know, I'm going to get him later, but again, I'm not trying to bust him. Right about that time, like, he leans over, man, and he makes a muscle in the car, man. He makes a muscle, and she's admiring his muscle, man. Like, and that's what took me over the edge, man. I almost ran into the back of him. You know what I mean?
Hey, it was a big day for him. Big day.
I mean, legitimately, like he was showing her his muscle.
A literal flex. A literal flex.
A literal flex.
Hey, good for him, man.
A literal
Good
flex.
for him.
Oh my goodness.
At that moment, I couldn't let him live anymore, man. I'm looking for his cell number in my phone.
Put your arm down.
Put
your arm down, man.
Put your arm down immediately. You know what I mean? Like, he is lucky I did not have his cell number in my phone, man. I had to wait. I had to wait to the top of the next week to get him. I kill him for life over that.
That was really funny.
You know, now he's a highly respected defensive line coach.
He's coaching, isn't he?
At Clemson. There's a funny Coach Eason story for you young D linemen at Clemson.
Ooh,
All right, we're going to hit
He
this.
was living that football life.
I almost had it, bro.
Yeah.
He was living that football life. He was showing off his facilities and
This is
flexing
what
his
we're working
muscle.
with here.
Literally.
Flexing the muscle. That's
Literally.
hilarious. After this breakdown, I have a.
That's probably not what you anticipated, but that
It was.
that is
awesome.
one of that is one of the
is awesome.
funniest.
That's exactly what we wanted.
That was good. Evan, what we got here?
Just your run-of-the-mill crab cake with a little bit of...
Nothing you makes run of the mill.
Okay. Well, a fancy crab cake with a little bit of jalapeno aioli.
Thank you. This is obviously because
I like the monotone delivery, man. That's
why he's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
At one speed.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
Man, you lucky I got to take my family to dinner, man. I'd be killing all of this.
I know.
Yeah, I do have a Ben question.
Oh, Ben. Oh,
Yeah.
Better be quick because he's got to get out of here.
Yeah, no.
Man, I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah, it's it won't take long. But
That's good.
so you're talking about the role of having amazing players, and obviously in the Steelers organization, you've had plenty to deal with. When Ben retires, you have a huge void that's never been there before for you in the offense. If Kenny doesn't drop and you guys pick him up, what was the actual plan? Was it just to ride out with Mitch, or was there something else?
I think that's why we acquired Mitch, so that we wouldn't feel a need to do something stupid.
Sure.
Or to, you know what I mean? Or feel that type of angst. Mitch was a starter capable guy, had been a franchise guy. He was young with upside, just all the things that you know about him. Quality dude. It was important for us to do business with him on the front side of the draft so we wouldn't feel the anxiety that you kind of outlined.
Sure.
That's good. We're going to do, what's our last beer, Spence?
The last beer, the one we have here, actually was sent in. I think the last one was sent in from some fans as well.
Man, this is a nice lager right here from Northwestern Ohio.
This is called Gigablaster. I'll put this
Gigablaster?
here. That's what they named it.
I'm sorry?
It is from Aviator Brewing. Here's the beer can. Aviator Brewing Company from North Carolina. I can't pronounce this name, so I'm not going to try, but it's from North Carolina. It's sent in by Matt and Rhonda Minor. Their favorite Big Ben story was training camp 2013. You signed something for their daughter. That was very nice of you, Ben. Yeah.
Glad to do it.
The Gigablaster is a New England style IPA brewed with heavy, late additions of hops to include Apollo, Citra, Galaxy, Vic Secret, and El Dorado. It should be hazy and delicious. The alcohol content is 6%. The IBU is 45.
It doesn't smell overly hoppy. Why you emphasize the hops for some reason there?
Hoppy.
It was because it was a late addition.
Hoppy.
A late addition.
Yep. So you taste how it's like piney?
Yes.
It's New England, right? Mm-hmm. And it was say New England, yeah.
Look at you, dude.
Yeah.
Alchemist.
The growth.
The growth.
The growth. Hey, my favorite Ben story, quickly. There's a lot of them.
Can we move on?
There's a lot of them. But, man.
That's good. Thank you guys for that.
Man, when he got his nose broken in Baltimore.
Yeah.
When he got his nose broken in Baltimore, his nose was an absolute mess.
Doc Bradley told me it wasn't that bad on the sideline.
That's the funny story. This dude comes to the sideline. Dude, it was an absolute mess. It was a mess, okay? He comes to the sideline during the timeout, and he's got gauze hanging out of it. It's not anywhere close to the center of his face, right? And he looks around, there's a couple of us standing around in a group.
No one wants to look at me.
Nobody looking at him directly. Okay, he looks at me, I look away. You know what I mean? It's such a mess that it's a football timeout. We got football business to discuss. But Bradley's in the group. Because whenever there's a timeout, he come over, just the doc is a component of it. Because
yes,
in 2023, he'd have been out of the game. Just from the look of it. From the looks, you know what I'm saying? They'd be like,
coach, I'm good. Nah, bro.
They'd have called him from New York, get him out of the game. That's a bad look. It's a bad look.
Hey, never missed a play.
Hey, dude. So he looks around at the group and he's like, "What? What is it, a mess?" Or you said something like, "How do I look?"
Yeah.
And nobody answered. Bradley.
Well, at one point, Bradley told me, "I'm not really sure. We'll have to check it when we go into halftime."
Man.
I said, "Doc, I can smell around the corner."
Hey, bro.
What are you talking about?
Hey, bro, I didn't answer. And you kind of you scanned the group while you was asking, but when you looked at me, I said, I couldn't look at him. I couldn't look at him.
Oh, man.
I couldn't look at him.
I love hearing the different perspectives of this story.
That was one of the moments, as a coach, you just pride yourself in, I let my son do that. If that was my son, man, his nose was a mess like that. I don't know,
Just kept on keeping on, huh?
I don't know, man. Appreciate you.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Appreciate you.
Well, thanks, Matt and Rhonda, for that beer. That was good. I really enjoyed that. Thank you. We are going to end this thing because we got about 5 minutes left. And we're going to do a new segment that Spence doesn't even know about. It's true. Truly doesn't know this. This is a new segment that we're going to try.
Okay.
Okay. And what I'm going to do is it feels fitting. And it feels fitting that it happens with you first. Okay. Because when we would have practice, Spence, Coach would always, when we did our 2-minute drill. Okay. So I'm thinking about calling this the 2-minute drill.
Well, you're going to win it every time.
Well, not every time, but most times.
A lot.
But what happens was Coach would be like, "Hey, we're going to give you 152, one timeout, got to go 72 yards, you need a touchdown to win." He would create a scenario.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to create a scenario for him.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So Spence, I don't know if you have your phone available.
I do.
love it.
I do.
We're gonna put 152 on the clock.
Okay.
I love it.
I've got a series of quick hitting questions.
All right.
I'm gonna ask them. Let's see how many we can get through.
I like this.
Okay, this is a new. It's called 2 minutes.
like 2
minute drill.
All right.
Hey, it's like Family Feud, man.
You want 152?
152 on the clock.
All right.
I always say when my daughter
70.
got 16, we'd do Family Feud.
You guys should.
You know what I mean? I'm serious about
that'd
it.
be fun.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, with my kids, we'd go against you, but my kids are way too young for that. They won't want to.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
152, 72 yards, need a touchdown to win.
All right.
End the game.
And a 2-point.
Not a half point.
You tell
not,
me
not
when.
at halftime. Once I finish the first question.
Okay, got it.
Okay, we're gonna see if we can get through all these.
All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Favorite sport to watch?
Gymnastics.
Pepsi or Coke?
Pepsi.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite sport to play?
Football in life.
It's deep.
Do you call it pop or soda?
Soda.
I knew I could trust you.
Would you rather watch college football or the NFL?
College.
Artificial turf or grass?
Grass all the way.
What's your favorite Tomlinism?
Oh, man. I don't know. Smile in the face of adversity.
Okay.
It's classic.
Sunday night football or Monday night football?
Monday night. Historian. Monday night.
What's your fastest 40?
4, 5, 6 in life.
What's your go-to song?
Go-to song. Simple Man of late.
Great song.
Okay.
Leonard Skinner.
Who's the baddest UFC fighter?
Man, I'm a Diaz brother.
Which one?
Nick, big brother.
4th and goal at the 1. Are you running it or throwing it?
Home or away.
It's good.
Either.
I'm going to run it until I can't.
Okay. Chocolate or vanilla ice cream?
Chocolate.
Favorite football player of all time?
Mike Irvin. Playmaker.
What's your go-to dessert?
Sweet potato pie.
Classic.
What's your favorite vacation spot?
The Breakers.
Berkey.
Yeah.
Favorite singer or group of all time? Or it could be now.
Of all time. My goodness.
10 seconds.
I don't know that I have one.
That is
Ocean or lake?
Like
time.
One play left in the game. What's your go-to defensive call?
Dog rush.
Last one. Who's your favorite kid? Oh, we're out of time. Shoot, we would have
Harley.
been great to go.
Harley.
Don't make him answer it because I know that.
Hey, I'm not nearly as conflicted as you think on that. You know, hey, and neither are you. Okay, like you got one daughter.
He came prepared for that question.
Hey, no, you're not. When you got one daughter,
I only have one daughter, but I only have one kid.
when you got one daughter, it's not a hard question.
Yes.
All right, Spence, land the plane.
Mike Z, thank you so much for gracing us with your
yes,
presence, man. Thank you for the stories, the knowledge, the insight. We appreciate you.
I felt like we could have went for another 2 hours. Like,
Oh, easy.
I can't believe it. That
Easy.
time, man.
Yeah, it's wild.
yeah. And we gave the fans what they wanted.
And I understand why. I understand why
it
they
was
kept on
awesome.
asking. I understand. I'm gonna ask for a part 2 for sure.
For sure.
I do want to give you an opportunity. I know you do a lot of work within the community. I know you partner with some awesome organizations and ministries. If there's anything you would like to plug, just real quick before we land this plane, I want to give you that opportunity to do so.
Man, can't say enough about Pastor Ed, man, Urban Impact. We do a lot of work with them. I do a Man Up conference annually with them that'll be going on in June, where we're encouraging each other to be the best godly fathers that we can be, not only in our homes, but in our community, to help the fatherless. But beyond that, man, what he's doing at Urban Impact, he's doing things right here in this community. It's an awesome ministry. The ministers serve and live in the communities in which they serve. I just got a lot of respect for that. I'm a Pittsburgher. I've been here long enough to say that, and so I just appreciate that component of what they do, like just boots on the ground and living in the communities in which they serve. Much respect to Pastor Ed and Urban Impact.
You're a big Boys and Girls Club too, aren't you?
Because I was a boys club kid back then, man. It was just the boys club. Like the girls had their own club, but you know, we weren't a daycare family. You know, my mom was single parent, man. At the boys club when I was a kid, man, it was $2 for a summer pass. And so you paid $2, you had a summer pass, your mom dropped you off on her way to work, man, and that was daycare. And you learned some hard lessons in those boys clubs, man. But it kind of shaped us all, man. Like some of the guys that you know from my area, we all grew up in the boys clubs of Newport News.
Nice.
There was an impactful guy named Pooh Johnson that ran all the rec stuff, man, that raised us all. You ask Michael Vick, you're talking to Aaron Brooks, you're talking to anybody from my community and say Pooh Johnson and watch them smile.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
what a
good to
legacy,
have.
man. Well, we appreciate you,
Yep.
obviously, for who you are, for what you do for the team, with the city, and even off the field. If you guys are not already, go ahead and plug into all of Coach Tomlin's socials. I'm sure they're being ran perfectly by
Teresa.
Yes. Also, if you are not already, go ahead and follow at Footballin with Ben on Instagram. We do all kinds of giveaways, exclusive content. We will be dropping the recipes shortly of all the food that you see Evan making here. We appreciate your time. Hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Coach Tomlin. Appreciate you being here. Really
Thank you,
enjoyed
brother.
it, and enjoyed the time we got to spend together, both on and off the field, and look forward to many, many more fun stories and beers in the basement.
And no doubt, brother.
Thanks for
No
being here.
doubt. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.